Has he given the okay?
Mm-hmm. Hello and a warm welcome to the BATTS Club at Harlow for the final round of Senior British League matches. The home team BATTS are playing North Ayrshire from Scotland, and without further ado I'll hand you over to Cliff Carter for the announcement of the teams. Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you, Martin. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Looks like we've got our biggest crowd of the season. Let's hope after 2 o'clock a few more will come in. But it's the final match of the season, and today we're up against the might of North Ayrshire. And you're only supposed to clap for BATTS. I don't know what happened there. But a big welcome to our friends from North Ayrshire. They always host us very well, and I hope we've reciprocated today. And congratulations, guys, the only team to take Ormsby out this season with a fantastic performance. I won't mention any names like Martin Johnson, who managed to win 2 against strong opposition, but well done, guys. Really strong win, and anything... Oh, I better not say what I was going to say. I forget it goes out. So, playing number 1 for North Ayrshire today, we have Martin Johnson. And playing number 2, flying in specially from Copenhagen, which I thought was in Denmark, but I know that he's from Sweden, so I got a bit confused, but he did say it's near the border. So playing number 2 today, we have Victor Gorman. And playing number 3, Billy Main runs the team, and his son is playing today. Gave us a tough battle when we were up north last time. I hope he doesn't play that well again. But a big welcome to Chris as well. And then before I forget, a big thank you as always to our umpires, without whom we possibly couldn't play the match, but Dave and Mary, thank you very much. And then over to the BATTS team. Playing number 1, he somehow still manages to keep that high ranking. I don't know how he does it, but he does do it. Perhaps the rest of our team are just getting worse, I'm not sure. But playing number 1, we have the mighty Chris Duran. And then playing number 2 for us today, I don't know whether we should welcome him back or not, because he skanked off to Germany to play over there and ditched our team. But no one else was available today, so we decided that we'd let Ralph Patterson back in the team. But on a serious note, it's great to have him back. So welcome to Ralph. And then playing number 3 for us today, we have the evergreen and wonderful Josh Bennett, who's going to be ripping a few forehands and punching backhands. Not sure if he's going to change his bat and do a bit of chopping today, but probably not. But a welcome, as always, to Josh Bennett. Right, so have a good match, guys. All right, and all the best.
Thank you, Cliff. Players now shaking hands. I'll get back into the commentary booth for my introduction in a few seconds. Oh, yes.
Enjoy, guys.
You come? Going to get timed out. Dave's history as well.
That's Dave, the chairman, is it?
Yes, it's chairman. Qualified coach, level 2. Yes, look, there's trouble already.
They need to unsqueak that door, don't they? It's such a loud.
Good to see you.
Oh, this has been
Sorry. Hello and a very warm welcome to the BATTS Club Harlow. We've had the player introductions. A slight delay while one of the North Ayrshire players got himself ready. Here for the final round of the Senior British League Clubs Premier Division. We welcome North Ayrshire from Scotland, a place called Largs, I think not far from Kilmarnock. They've flown down from Scotland today, or 2 of their players, into Gatwick, into Stansted Airport, which is just down the road from here, picked up by one of the BATTS aficionados, and one of their players has come in from Copenhagen. So it's a good mixture of players, and shows how travel is used these days, and we look forward to a good match. BATTS are currently 3rd in the table, whilst the visitors are 4th. The home team start as favourites, having won 5-2 in the away fixture. But there's no question that with Victor Gorman, who was unbeaten on that occasion, as was Chris Duran, they had put up a very strong side today, and notably Martin Johnson, who I'll be introducing you shortly on the table that we're covering for the first match. He figured strongly, beating David Macbeth in a 4-3 win for North Ayrshire over Ormsby, their best win of the season. Chris Duran will be spearheading the BATTS team. He's just about to start on table number 2, playing against Victor Gorman from Sweden. They're away. 2 players of big experience, big personalities and big stature. We shall keep an eye on that one, whilst here at the table we'll be following, and I'll be commentating on, will be Ralph Patterson from BATTS versus Martin Johnson from North Ayrshire. Ralph back in the harness again, having been on an excursion to Munich, playing in Division 3 of the Bundesliga, which meant he was unable to represent BATTS in the British League, but he's come back from there and is no longer ineligible to play, so we welcome him back. He's had a bit of a break since then, including not playing in the Nationals, so maybe a little bit rusty today. We'll be keen to see his match fitness. Doing a lot of coaching here at the BATTS Club, and he's up against Martin Johnson, the Scottish number 3. David Gavril calls the game to order. Ralph will be serving in the first game. Well, strays a little long on the serve, and Johnson picks up very quickly with a backhand flick. Patterson unable to return. This will be a tough test for Patterson. Equally, he's in quickly there on the forehand, drawing the scores. Overlook 1-all. Patterson just 17 and ranked number 12, still in the men's. Big forehand from Johnson, too strong for Patterson. Don't expect too many long rallies here. And both players pretty offensive, trying to get in first. Okay. Very short rally so far over the far side. Duran is serving, leading. 4-3. Another big forehand from Patterson, wins in the point. Parity here at 2-2, and indeed over on the far table at 4 each. Another short rally, Patterson missing this time. 2-3. Welcome Ralph's father Rob here today. Not perhaps as big a crowd as we hoped for. Hopefully you're all watching online. Patterson in this time. 3-all. Duran levels it at 5-all down the far end. Johnson serving here in the red shirt. Wow, that's my first wow of the day. Patterson certainly doesn't appear to have lost any of his sharpness. He was in like a shot there, and hardly a loose serve. Patterson flipped it away on the forehand. 3-4, Johnson serving. Nice touch from Patterson this time. It finally gets a little bit of clear air in the 5-3 lead, as does Duran, leading 7-5 down the far end. Wow, that's a great backhand flick from Johnson. Patterson never moved. He's going to have to tighten these serves up if he's to win this match, that's for sure. That service. Patterson looking focused, as indeed is Johnson. That 2-point deficit has disappeared, back to 5-all. Patterson losing the advantage of serve. Meanwhile, at the far end, Chris Duran about to go 10-5 up as he does. Good rally, 5-all here. Johnson serves short, catches the top of the net. Umpire Gavril just making it clear to Johnson that he's got to throw the ball up, much to the disgust of the server. May just have disturbed his concentration somewhat. Local man, Patterson, lives in Harlow, where we are. In 6-5. Fantastic shot from Patterson. Gives him once again a 2-point advantage. Meanwhile, Duran has won the first end against Victor Gorman. It's a good start. Gorman probably favourite to win that game. And Johnson probably slight favourite here. He won't play like that. If you give Ralph an opportunity, he'll take it, and he hits it straight into the body of Johnson. Lost the last 3 points since the umpire picked him up on his serve. Umpire David Gavril, the chairman of Essex Table Tennis. Long serve from Patterson disappears past his backhand. I think he has to watch serving long to this man Johnson. Very aggressive. 6-8. Patterson slightly fortunate there to get the net, disrupted Johnson, who went for the big backhand and netted it 6-9. Another of those fast shovels from Patterson. Brings a round of applause from the crowd. It's looking sharp as a pin. 4 game points, 10-6 on his serve. That's probably the longest and best rally of the game. Both players firing forehands at each other. Johnson coming out on top. First game over, 11-7 to Patterson, and Johnson perhaps a little distressed by the fact his serve was called into question. Only one point after that. Patterson looking confident, looking very fit, and looks like he's been pumping iron by the muscles on his arms there. He's filling his shirt out and drinking water at the moment. Meanwhile, on table 2, a surprise start for Victor Gorman. He's 5-0 up against Duran, having lost the first. Jogging round the table, so he's looking good. Duran in a very explosive colour shirt. Looks like he may be sponsored by Hewlett Packard, a printing explosion. He's having a towel down at 6 love down and needs to rethink his tactics perhaps for this one. Anyway, back on table 1 with the action about to start again. 1-0 to Patterson. Gorman toweling down. Not happy with the tissues on that side of the table. Players normally have some form of towel which they dampen, that they can tread on every few points to make sure they get grip. You can probably unfortunately hear the screeching of the shoes occasionally. Apologies for that. Here we go. Johnson serving level. Patterson again, a little fortunate with the catching the top of the net. Apologises Johnson, but as with all cases you can apologise, but if you win the point you're pretty happy. Patterson now another fast return of serve. I must say he's looking very sharp. No Neil Briley today, the Supremo of the BATTS Club. I think he's on wedding duties, family wedding duties. I don't know if you're listening in through an earpiece while the service is going on there, but BATTS players leading by a set to love in both ends at the moment. Patterson 2-1 up. Looks like Duran's going to go down at the far end of the second end there. Patterson misses a backhand for the first time. Duran is 10-3 down. Probably that set is gone now. In fact, it is when he serves into the end of the table. Big turnaround there. If you can move Johnson back from the table, I think he's not the player he is up close, and Patterson certainly managed to do that on this occasion. 2-3. Johnson, born and bred in Scotland, passionate about his table tennis. Currently Scottish number 3, 40% average in this division. Ralph with 50%. Patterson perhaps missing run he'd expect to get on. Loaded it in topspin, it still went off the end. Three, 4. Nice serve from Patterson. Johnson tried to take it on the back end. Probably would have been better on the forehand. Flicked it into the net, slightly out of position. 4 each. It's a tight end. That's not an American football position. Tight end being a tight set. And Patterson missing a backhand flick. Just a few errors creeping into his game now. He's to keep his focus. 2 points adrift. 4-6. Topspin serve brings its reward. Gets back on the attack. Duran defending down the far end. 1-all, both in points and in sets. Great return of a good serve from Patterson and Johnson. 7-5 now, Johnson. Now the players taking the opportunity to towel down. Three great forehands back to back from Patterson, forcing his way through the defence of Johnson. 1 point back, 7-6 Johnson. So the all again. Patterson will be pleased with that. Must keep up the positive approach. Johnson ruffles his hair, steps back from the table, wipes the table with his hand. He catches the top of the net. Clever chop shot from Patterson, but can't get enough on it to stop Johnson hitting the return. Driving Patterson back, getting a top edge. 7-8. 3-all down the far end. Patterson serving 7-8. Can't believe that he missed that shot, Patterson. And drove all round the ball. Johnson will take it. 9-7. Fantastic rally going on down the far end. So finally, Gorman puts one through the defences of Duran at the back of the court. 4-3 there. 9-8 here. So both North Ayrshire players leading by a point. Clever return from Patterson, dug into the body. Johnson can't get out the way of the ball and misses a forehand. 9-all. If Patterson is to win this match, you would think he would need to take this end. Confidence-wise, it'd be a big boost for him. Now both players moved back from the table, and Patterson, well, the ball went past him without his backhand moving. Great shot from Johnson down the middle. It gives him his first game point. 1-all in sets down the far end. 1-0 here to Patterson, but facing a match point, sorry, a game point. Duran cheering himself on, as he's well Patterson. Not sure exactly what he's saying, but he's certainly happy with that point. Deuce. Now he's telling himself, let's go. Johnson considering this serve on the backhand court. Patterson jogs around the back of the court. Saying, let's go again, let's go. Johnson looks as though he's pensive at this stage. He needs to come up with something. Won't want to go 2-0 down. Josh Bennett applauding Patterson from the sideline. Had a long chat with him after the first end. Patterson serves 11-10. Gets the big forehand in and a big shout. We'll have to ask him exactly what he's saying, but it doesn't really matter. It's a tight set and he's come out on top and he leads 2-0. Meanwhile, down the far end, it's tight. Although Duran has performed much better in this end. 7-6 up. I think at this stage he was 7-0 down at the last game. Cliff Carter, the manager of BATTS, in his very highly coloured shirt, something he's associated with now, having a chat with Ralph, indicating his selection. Hand slaps all round. Patterson drinking water. Needs to focus, get off to a good start here. The home team are to put their first win on the board. Duran serving down the far end. 7-all. Nice backhand chop block. Foreman a bit slow, puts it into the net. He'll be disappointed with that. Duran quite happy. Duran's style is unique, and he does play an array of shots that sometimes the opposition haven't seen before. I'm sure Gorman is up to the task, but he slipped to a 2-point deficit here, so he's 7-9 down, 1-all. Meanwhile, we're about to start again on table 1 with Patterson leading 2-0. Fast serve from Patterson goes straight through the backhand of Johnson. Momentum now well with the BATTS player, as it is at the far end. Bit of luck there for Victor at 7-9. It's an edge. 8-9 down. Patterson flying. 2-0 in sets and 2-0 in this game on points. I must say, the break hasn't done him any harm. And we have our first timeout. Invariably, when a player gets 3-0 down or a 3-point deficit at any time in what potentially is the final end, timeouts are called. More to disrupt the player, I think, who's in the lead, as opposed to certainly at this stage where there's only 3 points been achieved, that you would think that there can't be too much coaching. Chris Main is doing the job with Johnson at the minute. Patterson doesn't need any help. He's just taking on water. Meanwhile, there's been a good comeback down the far end to the point where Victor Gorman has got a game point. Duran serving at 9-10. Each player is allowed 1 1-minute timeout. Umpire David Gavril calls the game to order. Vital that Patterson keeps his focus. Terrific shot from Duran, who looks to the heavens, but clever play. Gorman's backhand goes off the end, so we're induced there. Love 3 here. Big point, this one. Patterson misses him. By his standards, is a straightforward forehand. 3-1. Duran missing a backhand. Patterson serves short. Spun up on the backhand from Johnson. If he can level this off with this next point, the timeout will have worked. Mustn't let that play on your mind. Patterson must be positive. Johnson gets in with a big forehand. It is 3-all. Sometimes the break can disrupt the opponent. Meanwhile, 11-all down the far end. Johnson serving at 3-all. Well, a big cheer from Patterson there, who, well, he floated up a spinny forehand. Johnson thought he could hit through it, but it went off the end. The spin, taking it off the end. Well played, Patterson. Proving he's more than just a big forehand. Johnson, 3-4. Patterson this time misses a forehand. Duran takes the third end, 13-11 for the home team. So leading in both matches now. North Ayrshire will need one of these, you would think, if they are to take the spoils. Johnson now fist punching the air and back to a lead of 5-4. Remember, he was 3-0 down at the timeout. North Ayrshire, this match is more important to them than BATTS. BATTS guaranteed third position. North Ayrshire wanting to finish forward. Let's Patterson. And I do beg your pardon, the game is still going on down the far end, so I'm not quite sure what happened. They're in a timeout now, 13-12 to Gorman. The momentum has swung here. The last 7 points since the timeout. Johnson has won 6 of them. (6-4). Patterson happy to win that point. Bit of a scruffy shot from Johnson. Goes off the end. Has the advantage of service. No, didn't look like it was much of an advantage there, but really a mid-court service meat and drink to Patterson with that forehand flick. It's been the feature of this match, to be honest. At least half a dozen put away. 6-all now. Johnson running around the forehand. Misses a backhand. Patterson back in front. Chris Main, the non-playing coach in this game, is giving encouragement to his teammate. Backhand flip goes on this time from Johnson, but Patterson counter-attacks with a big forehand. And he's now on a roll. 6-8, no more timeouts for North Ayrshire. Patterson misses out. 13-all down the far end. Unlucky there from Duran. It hits the net and just takes it wide of the table. 7-8 here. Patterson live wire as always. Yeah, gives the ball some air, but Johnson this time smashes it away, well read. 8-all now. Gorman leading. This time, Gorman has taken that on. 15-13. 8-all here. Poor return from Gorman. From Johnson. Patterson now 2 points away from a 3-0 win. 9-8 with the serve. Clever serve, as Patterson tells himself, and he therefore gained 2 match points. 8-10, 2-0 up, 2 points away from taking BATTS' first point in the match. Goes for the trademark forehand flick, misses, courtesy of the top of the net by quite a way. Cheap point, that one for Johnson. Can Patterson put the second one away to win the match? Come into the commentary box, that one. Patterson shakes his head. Advantage of the serve there this time with Johnson, and he wins both points, bringing it back to deuce. Patterson has the advantage of the first serve. Johnson catches the net, and the spin off Patterson's back goes long. Game point, first one of the match from Johnson. That's great play from Johnson. He returned the first time the Patterson forehand flick. One of the longer rallies of about 6 shots. Johnson in the end wins. Patterson shakes his head but still has a 2-1 lead. Down the far end, North Ayrshire have a 2-1 lead. The home player, Chris Duran, has a 3-1 advantage. Three-two, Duran. Weak backhand from Duran. 3-all, he's toweling down and chuntering to himself that it was a loose shot. Johnson with a spring in his step. Toweling down, his shirt now showing signs of perspiration. Working hard, tries the soles of his shoes. And once again moves the dampened tissue round away from the umpire. Galdrell throws the ball to Johnson. Calls fourth game, it's a love all. Nice return. 3 LAs from Patterson. He wins the first point. Wayward return that got closer as the ball was flying through the air, but Patterson caught it beside the table. The forehand flick again proving the point winner. 2-0, Patterson serving. This time it's a backhand flick from Johnson, equally powerful as Patterson's forehand. Gives him the point. Serving doesn't seem to be much of an advantage here. 5-all down the far end. Duran and Johnson changing ends. Patterson congratulates himself with a good serve. Meanwhile, Duran not looking very happy. Another good forehand backhand combination from Patterson. Gives him a 3-point advantage. 1-4. Let's that's probably the best of the lot. I was watching that very closely. Very few players would have been able to flick that serve very close to the top of the net, but somehow Patterson got in. Johnson looks annoyed with himself, but to be honest, not a lot more he could have done. Maybe go more backhand side of the table. 5-1 Patterson. And make that 6-1, another LA from Patterson. Heading towards a win here, but still a way to go. Needs 5 points. Over halfway there. Bounces the ball aggressively on the floor, marching round. Yeah, it's another good serve. Patterson negating the backhand flick of Johnson, serving into the forehand side. Let's see whether Johnson can return that by serving into Patterson's backhand. No, he can't. He's under pressure, Johnson, at the back of the court, but two big returns and a big backhand. Patterson misses. 2-7, well played, Martin Johnson. 6-all down the far end. 2-7 here. Johnson serving. Yeah, that's clever. Patterson had to use the backhand flick, not as effective as forehand. 7-3. Patterson will be looking for 1, if not 2 points here on his serve to just cement the lead he's got. Oh dear, Patterson's on his knees as the ball hits the top of the net from the return of serve by Johnson. But lucky there, he'll take it. 3 consecutive points now to Johnson, 7-4. Not a crisis, but Patterson with the serve, wanting to get some advantage out of it. Yeah, and Patterson serving the forehand, but instead of attacking, Johnson's got a very flat push, very little spin on it. And I think it's the BATTS coaching team have called a timeout for Patterson, having lost 4 points on the trot. David Gatherall, the umpire, is up, putting the timeout symbol on Patterson's side of the table. 1 minute here for coaching. Duran 8-all down the far end. Both games tight. Patterson nodding to the instructions from the bench. Knows what he's got to do. He'll be looking to get in first on this serve from Johnson. Johnson, you feel, must keep it away from his backhand. Good cheer from Victor Gorman as he edges ahead 9-8 and 2-1 up in sets. Johnson taking his time. Towering down. 4 consecutive points is won. Has Patterson been able to break the concentration of Johnson? 9-all now down the far end. Maybe his own concentration, a wayward forehand. It's the net post on its way out. Patterson wipes his brow. Massive point. Another poor forehand. The timeout has worked against him, if anything. Unable to return 2 serves, something that he's been very good on so far. 7-all now. Another forehand miss from Patterson. It's keeping it away from the dangerous backhand of Johnson, but Johnson with that long push down the far end, the game is over. A win for North Ayrshire, 3-1. This time Patterson gets the forehand in. We're back to parity at 8-all. The crowd now, partisan crowd, getting behind the home favourite. Patterson, born and bred in Harlow. He's passing the serve over. As I've said, doesn't seem to be much of an advantage. Johnson, though, the last 2 serves very clever, not allowing the flick from Patterson. So, this time a clever push from Patterson almost catches Johnson flat-footed, and Johnson nets in the bottom. 8-9. Clever play from Patterson. It'll make Johnson think about his second serve. Can Patterson get the flick in? No. Yeah, it's also a very good return, he tells himself. Catches Johnson. Johnson Again flat-footed, loses both his serves this time. 2 match points for Patterson to level the match at 1-1. Great serve from Patterson. Great backhand flick. Remember, Johnson was 10-8 down, posting 2 match points in the previous end. Some loud applause from Gorman on the bench now, watching this match. Once again, clapping his teammate. Johnson bouncing. Can Patterson come up with a 1-2 third ball kill? Yes, he can. That's a great finish. Well-deserved win. Great match. Johnson fought hard. Patterson overcame a bad spell in that fourth end, taking it 11-9 in the match, 3-1, as was the score on the other table in favour of North Ayrshire. We now have a match score of 1-1. We knew it was going to be close, and it's proven that way. I think we're now moving into doubles. Not sure who BATTS will go with, but after that performance from Patterson, I would think the 2 youngsters will partner up, which will see Josh Bennett's first game of the day. Chris Duran will be rested. Well played, Ralph. Some confusion over Cliff Carter's birthday. And there's some birthday cake being offered. We're not sure it will be to the opposition. Cliff Carter, the manager of the BATTS club, very enthusiastic still, reaching the milestone of 70 and offering birthday cake to everybody. I'll take a little break now before the next round of matches. Welcome back. I'm Martin Green in the commentary box. Looking at the players knocking up now for the doubles game. 3 players you will already have seen, albeit Victor on the far table. Victor Gorman from Sweden and Martin Johnson from Scotland against the 2 British players, Ralph Patterson serving and Josh Bennett playing his first shot in anger of the match, and he misses with a forehand. Leg 1. Nice controlled forehand this time from Bennett. Wins the point. Hello. Bennett questioning whether it was a let on it. No movement for the opposition or the umpire. Great return from Patterson. One of his first returns of the Johnson flick. 2 each. That service, you'll notice that David Campbell is standing to make sure he can see the ball is served into the opposite corner of the table. 2-3. 3-2 shot. Johnson not happy with his return there into the net. 2-4. Johnson serving to Patterson, who in turn nets his push. Just replays the shot. Very, very loose serve, gobbled up by the forehand of Patterson. That's meat and drink to him. Applause from his teammates on the bench, including his father now, who's joined the team. Great return from Bennett. Fantastic forehand. Ball comes into the commentary area. I return it. My first action of the day. Hopefully the last. 6-2. Sorry, 6-3. Make that 7-3, and the Bats boys looking sharp. The younger of the 2 pairings, both in their 20s. Gorman serves. Very nice serve, short. Swedish top 50 at the minute. Not exactly covering himself in glory with that forehand. Questioning his own footwork. 7-5. Bennett serves. Good forehand from Gorman. Bennett serves into the net. 7-all. For what it's worth, my prediction is whoever wins the doubles wins the match. We shall see. Great backhand, big push in the Swede. Wins the Scottish team the point. Patterson serving at 8-all. Loose return from Gorman. Got away by Bennett on the backhand. Good serve from Patterson, of course. Tight serve, catches the top of the net. 9-8 to the Essex pair. Poor pick up from Bennett. 9-all. Time for a towel down for the two players from Scotland. Talking tactics while Bennett and Patterson just remain quiet. Focus on this point. Gorman serving to Bennett. A great return from Bennett. Patterson put in a big forehand, but not enough to win the point. 10-9. Game point to North Ayrshire. Big spin serve from Gorman. It did bounce high, and maybe some of that spin still on the ball for his colleague to return, and it goes long. Deuce. Backhand serve coming up from Bennett. Patterson tells him what to do. Patterson returned a little higher than he'd hoped. Gorman couldn't put a big forehand in, but he did enough to stop Bennett returning. Another game point for North Ayrshire. Johnson serving from the backhand. Nice controlled backhand flick from Gorman. Very clever player, nice touch. Gives his team the first end 12-10. Really important game, this one. With such close matches coming up, this one is impossible to call. Mind you, most of the remaining match is impossible to call. We haven't seen Chris Mayne yet. He's had some good wins this season. He's got to play against Josh Bennett next. Chris Duran and Martin Johnson will be in action on the opposite table. Another difficult one to call. Josh will then play Victor Gorman, and Ralph completing the match with Chris Mayne. So really, every game here will be very tight. One of the best matches so far we've witnessed here in terms of closeness. Could go all the way to the final end. Umpire Gatherall calls the players to order. Towels are placed in the towel boxes. Mary Nichols at the other end is the other umpire from Hertfordshire. Top umpire plays herself. Also coaches, level 2 coach, vastly experienced. Here we go. Second game level. I have to laugh at that one because the big forehand from Patterson is returned with interest by Johnson straight into Patterson before he can move out of the way. And he's hit again, this time though. A wild shot from Johnson. So Patterson in the wars, 1-all. He won't mind, he's serving. Bennett misses what he would consider a straightforward backhand block down the line. 1-2. Apologies about the squeaky door. Another spectator arrives. Johnson serving to Bennett. Patterson attempt to chop, goes straight up in the air and wrong. Very smart forehand from Gorman getting the angle right, stopping Patterson, getting the ball back. 1-5 now. Make that 1-6 as Patterson plays an air shot, shakes his head. Good controlled return of serve from Gorman. Nice touch play, and Johnson this time with the big forehand. Encouragement from Carter for his BATTS team, but they're 7-1 down. Gowdo calls a let. Bennett thanks him. Gorman looks surprised. Unsettled Gorman a bit there. His second serve there goes into the net. Bennett a little loose there. Long fast serve from Patterson, not helped by the fact that Johnson got a net there, but still enough to win the point. Bennett flicks off the table. 7 game points for a 2-0 lead. Controlled pushing there, and Gorman goes into the net. Mountain decline here now though. 4-6. Sorry, 4-10. Patterson steps in with a trademark forehand. 5-10. Johnson tries to calm the situation. Great flick, backhand flick this time from Patterson. And I think fair to say North Ayrshire have taken their foot off the gas here a little bit. Gorman will serve with 4 game points still. This time they convert at the 3rd attempt to go into a 2-0 lead. Both pairings now in consultation. No coach for North Ayrshire. Chris Main providing the help for his 2 players. Meanwhile, both Chris Duran and Cliff Carter are offering advice to his players. Maybe it's the inexperience that's cost them the first 2. Duran yawning. Having lost his first game, he'll want to put that right. He'll be in action in the next round against Martin Johnson, who lost to Ralph Patterson. Umpire will be calling time shortly, I'm sure, checking his watch. North Ayrshire players are ready, as are the BATTS players. A long way to go if they're to win this doubles. Patterson serving to Gorman. Bennett's relatively simple backhand flick for him goes into the net. Gorman with the foppish hair. Left long. His shot doesn't go long, he wins the point. 2-0 now. Nice serve. But this time Johnson plays an air shot, trying to win the point. This is forehand, it's 2-1. Patterson goes from expansive inside out forehand. It goes long. 1-3. Timeout still available. You wonder if the home pairing lose this point, whether the timeout will be called. Oh dear. Gorman gets the luckiest of nets. He's happy to take it. Bennett moving backwards as he served nets. Match drifting away here from the BATTS players. Johnson serving to Patterson. Last to Patterson, forehand flip comes into action. The highlight of the day so far, and he's pulled 1 point back. Not sure Johnson will allow him to do it again, but we shall see. No. And a simple rolled backhand wide of Bennett's forehand brings the Scots pairing the point 2-6. That's serving. Patterson to Gorman. Oh, that's a great shot from Bennett. Rolled backhand from Gorman. Bennett met it on the half volley and put it away. Lovely shot from Gorman. He's got great touch. Delightful runner, this one, with some big forehands from the two BATTS players and Gorman, and it's the backhand of Johnson that fails, goes into the net. Some encouragement here for the BATTS boys. Gorman serves. Patterson struggles on the backhand defence. 4-8, was Main happy. He's warming up as well as coaching. Multitasking. He's on next. Against Josh Bennett, who's serving at the moment. Nice forehand from Patterson. Backhand stab chop from Gorman goes long. Big backhand from Gorman wins the point. He's been the difference really here. Looks to have time. Great sign for a good player. An errant forehand from Patterson for once gives the north of the border team 5 match points. Gorman attempting to bite off a bit more of the angle than he could afford, loses the point. Bennett's backhand catches the net, goes long, resulting in a win for the North Ayrshire pairing of Martin Johnson and Victor Gorman in 3 straight. Disappointment for the home crowd. Pretty conclusive. North Ayrshire team come down the other end, sportingly clap hands with the BATTS backroom staff and take a 2-1 lead in the match. A lot of pressure on Chris Duran, you think now? Really? You allowed in the commentary box?
For about a 12-second cameo.
Ah, well, we're going to...
Particularly close.
No, disappointing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, full credit to North Ayrshire. They're here like it's a title fight, and I think BATTS at the moment we're probably not showing our best colours, if I'm being honest. You know, myself to blame there. Probably should have at least taken that to 5. A little bit unlucky in parts, but none of us are playing our level, really. Good win for Ralph, but the bits I saw, it looked a bit scrappy. But, you know,
Yeah, I think Ralph's forehand flick was going nicely. So, and of course he's a bit rusty. Pleased to see him back.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's good. You never want to see someone like out of the game at 18. I think he's not even 18 yet. He's 18 in a few months. So it's, 17. I mean, well, back in 1912 when I was 17, young, hungry-eyed, finishing our A-levels and stuff. You don't want to see people taking, extended breaks at that age. But, it's just good to see Ralph in a good place.
It's good to hear. While we're in Essex, I just want to give a quick shout out to Evie Knappen, national champion. Chris, helping out there.
No, she's a lovely girl. I mean, she's come such a long way in about a year. I mean, no disrespect to her, a year ago, she wasn't, I said to her on the camp when I met her, I said, the nicest possible way, we'll make you worse for a month and you'll see the benefits in about 6 months. And she's gone up leaps and bounds, I'll take about 6% of the credit for that. I mean, they'll give the 94 to everyone at Woodford Wells and help her out and stuff. But I saw her miss a smash earlier and laugh on the live stream. So sorry, Evie, but I did see that.
Well, and Chris, certainly in your camp, and congratulations, Evie, on being a national champion in the cadet girls doubles. She is often seen down here at the BATTS Club.
I'm not sure her surname. Catherine Van Dracott. Catherine, I don't know her surname. Sorry.
What, they practice together, do they?
No, her partner.
A doubles partner. No, that's right.
She's a lovely girl.
Yeah.
I can't remember her surname. My bad, Catherine, if you're listening. I know there's been some shocks. I mean, Abraham Staldo was the star of the senior nationals, and he did unfortunately make it straight for his groups. I mean, it might be a new golden era with England where they're getting a lot of challenges in the juniors again a year or so after. It'd be good to see. You need your Connor Greens, you need your stars, your Tom Jarvis and stuff, and then you need your what's like the basketball, Shaquille O'Neal calls it the others. You need the others, the guys that are just behind the rankings that push them.
Yeah,
makes better players.
They seem to be. I think if you get a good crop, then they continue to push each other, and
well, that's why Ralph wasn't as good as he thinks he was. He wasn't pushed enough, so that's why he's taking extended breaks.
He's got a good pair of guns there, though, by the look of things. You've been pumping iron, have you, Ralph?
Yeah, you can say so. Yeah.
Looking good.
Well, one of us is. Me and Martin, not so much.
In that order, I think. Yeah. No, we're now having a little bit of a break. There's two North Ayrshire players practicing. There's Chris, the left-hander, hasn't played a game yet. How do you see these next two matches panning out?
Well, I mean, it'll be interesting. If I'm playing the diplomatic side, me and Martin both had, in our opinion, slightly disappointing losses there. So you have to rebound. I've been saying to the juniors for years. You got to practice what you preach. I mean, if you lose a game, especially in team matches, you can't sulk for another hour, which I have seen. I'm not going to name the names, but I have seen a number of times over the years. So strength of a player, character. How do you rebound from a loss in these situations? And he's won the doubles there, so he's got a little bit of momentum on his side. But
I think it's another sport that you're familiar with, tennis. Novak Djokovic is one that says that it's how quickly you can forget the last point, and although he does tend to throw his toys out the pram, by the time he's reset, he's focused again. Do you think that's true?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, I better go after this, but I mean, there was a really interesting thing the other day with, I think Roger Federer won something like 53.4% of the points he played in his career, something like that. It's no more than 55, maximum 54 point something. I mean, and when you think of that in perspective, there's the three greatest players of this era, arguably the three greatest players ever, are all only winning just over 50% of the points. I mean, and I'll be honest with you, I won the first set very easy against Victor there. He won the second set very easy. And you could argue that I should have won the next two. 2 points, 2 points is the exact same thing. Yeah. 54% on the points, but that's a 3-1 loss instead of a 3-1 win. So,
makes a difference. 2
years ago, I win that 3-1.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating to watch. But you're on the wrong end of a big deuce game, I think. Yeah, I mean, the third one.
I mean, if you told me to put the numbers in a random simulator, I think he was the slightly better player. But I was 1-0, 9-7 up in control of the point. He gets a bit of a lucky edge off a finger. 9 times out of 10, that's 1-1, 10-7 for me. I probably clean that set up, and in my mind, I win the 4th 11-6. But that's not what happened.
No, that's why it's a fascinating game, I guess.
You lose. I think I lost about 16-14 or 17-15 in the third, and then the 4th was 11-9 as well. I mean, I played poor. I mean, I'm not there mentally at the moment. I mean, I'm more in the coaching side of it at the moment. I'll see what happens over the summer.
Yeah, you're pretty good at the clutch points normally, though. We back you when it does get close.
Yeah, that's the problem. You got to get close. They're all younger, hungry, and with a better hairline and abs than me these days. I mean, the abs was always in the equation, but the hairline's very disappointing these days. So
More streamlined, I'd say.
yeah, I need to shave it all off. I've been told, but I look like a human thumb. You know, just a 6'8" thumb. So you know, you can't be bold unless you're in shape. I've been told.
Well, I hear that you're working on that because of an imminent knee operation.
Well, I mean, you know, might as well say I've been waiting for a knee operation for about 10 months now, but unfortunately, and I'll take the blame for it, I was deemed too fat about 48 hours before the surgery. So
Really?
yeah, I was told to lose 3.5 stone. The physio had a word with the surgeon, so that I don't want that much pressure going for the knee. So been sent back, been on the thing. So I've lost about, I mean, if we put it in kilos, I've lost about 16 kilos since, well, in 10 months. I mean, it's a long time, 10 months, but the goal was to lose 20. So in theory, I've got to lose another 4 kilos before July. But if I lose 19, they don't do the surgery. I'm coming after you, Martin. I'm blaming you for it. So
well,
fingers crossed, I'll be having the surgery sometime late July.
I'm no role model on that front, but I've switched from Coca-Cola to Pepsi Max in the effort of less sugar.
I'm going to say you switched from Coca-Cola to Pepsi. At least the Max. I mean, I will say Pepsi Max is my choice.
Ah, well, there you go. We've got something in common. But thanks, Chris, for that. An insight to the big man there from Northamptonshire. BATTS #1 today, Chris Duran, who's entertained around the country for the last 20-odd years. And he'll be coming out soon. We've got this slight break at the minute. But he'll be coming out and looking to put behind his loss. He'll be playing against Martin Johnson, both #1s having lost their singles. We're about to get underway at the far end, I think. 2 crucial games, really. That doubles was important. Mr. Patterson is back, looking at his phone to see whether he's got any TikTok messages and maybe some memes from his favourite Rocky films. At least he's smiling.
That's mine. I opened it.
Sorry for any language you may have picked up on air, but Chris Duran stealing Ralph Patterson's drink. Yeah. Who's going to win these 2 matches? Patterson points to his own self. Don't think he's playing yet, though. No, he's not. He may have to play the vital last end. In the meantime, Duran now towel around his neck. He's stepping onto the main court to play against Martin Johnson. Far end Josh Bennett against Chris Main, sorry. And you could say that no player has won a singles yet of these 3. That's probably because Chris Main hasn't played one, nor has Bennett. Duran has lost and Martin Johnson has lost. Johnson perhaps for the slight advantage of winning the doubles, which will help fill his confidence.
Here's one.
Patterson supplying match balls, which really the umpire should be doing. David Gatherell just inspecting the bat of Chris Duran, as he is Martin Johnson. Says he's using the same bat. Toss being made. Chris has the choice. Umpire down the far end, Mary Nichols, just checking the height of the net. Duran and Johnson away for their 2-minute warm-up. Another match that's very close to call. Good transfer weight from Duran. Tough cookie to play against, no question of that. Johnson, though, having beaten David Macbeth in a 4-3 win for Ormsby, against Ormsby, their best result of the season. Chris Duran won half of his matches this season. Stylish player, entertainer. We should be in for a good match here. Duran now ranked 8th in the country. Been in the top 10 for a long, long time. Has slipped one place behind Connor Green, the youngster junior, making a name for himself this season. He's now number 7. Duran 8. Patterson 12. And Josh Bennett 15. We still await news of the blockbuster Marty Reeson film that Josh Bennett starred in as an English friend to Marty Reeson, America's arguably greatest player. That will be coming out soon. I gather it's in the can. Both tables now just about to get underway. Umpire Gavril calling Chris to serve. Lovely. Nice start from Gavril. Sorry, from Duran. Duran nets on the backhand, 1 each. A lack of back speed from Duran's backhand there. Lack of refreshment in the commentary box. Scrappy start here, really. 2 each. An hour and a half after he started, Chris Mayne gets on the table and wins his first point against Josh Bennett. 2-2 here. Duran serves, tight serve, air shot on the backhand, brings the applause from the home crowd. Johnson gets in with a forehand, too hot for Duran to handle. Unusual error from Duran. Bennett, after losing the first point on the upper table, has now won the following 3 and leads 3-1. Johnson serves to no avail as the ball comes into the court from the other table. 4-3 Johnson. Big forehand this time from Johnson, gives him the point. Scrappy game still. 4-5, Duran serving. Bennett 6-1 up against Chris Mayne now. Oh, beautifully faded forehand from Johnson. More guide than power, which is unusual for him. But it wins the point. Elegant shot. 6-4. Big forehand catches the net and goes off the end from Johnson. 5-6. Bennett 7-1 up now down the far end. Batts needing to win at least one of these 2 to stay in the match. Duran gives himself to come on as he wins that point and levels the score 6-all. Bennett's lost a couple of points down the far end. He leads 7-3 still. Oh, great play from Duran. Maybe a slight lack of power, but yeah, more power. kind of directly speaking into our box here. First one in a month, he says, but after about 5 forehand top spins, he drops one short, brings Johnson in, ball balloons up, and Jerome puts it past him, 7-6. Nicely steered down the backhand. Jerome starting to get a hold on this game. 6-8. Bennett's 3-9 down the far end in favour of BATTS. Nice forehand from Johnson. 7-8. Jerome will try and tie him up down the backhand, or certainly into the body. He couldn't on that occasion. 7-8. Another big forehand from Johnson. Duran looks at his coaching team as if to say, what happened there? But needs to watch that forehand. Duran knows what he's doing. So there's Josh Bennett. He's 11-4 and taking the first end there. Lovely serve from Johnson, but he balloons all the way down. He was a little frustrated with himself, having lost 3 on the trot from 8-6 up. Commentator's curse, I think he'd call it. 8-9. Johnson making Duran wait. Duran hoping the fast serve might catch his opponent out, but it didn't. Excuse any bad language picked up there. Umpire must have missed it. That's a yellow card offence. Duran still talking, not sure what about. Needs to get his focus back. 2 game points for the Scottish team. 10-8. Oh dear. Oh dear, we have a little controversy, I think. Umpire calls Johnson at 10-8, and Johnson's not happy with it. He's in danger. Getting a yellow card if he remonstrates too much here. Gavril in charge. Yeah, he's called and given the point to the opposition. Duran called out thinking he maybe was a lap, which it wasn't, but it's the second time the umpire has called Johnson up on throwing the ball up straight. How will this affect him? 10-9, still a game point. Right, happily puts the ball away, and Duran throws his bat on the table, getting a little bit bad-tempered this game now, and it's a shame. David Gavril never afraid to call a foul serve if he sees it that way. He's going into the corner to pick the ball up. Main getting the advantage of an edge there down the far end, losing the match 1-0 at the minute, but 2-1 up in the second end. Early days there, and 11-9 here to Johnson from North Ayrshire. But his serve is certainly under observation from the umpire. Difficult to see from here. Carter clapping hands at Josh Bennett, who slipped into a 4-1 deficit, but he's just won that point, 4-2. Main here, wiping his head with his towel. Sorry, Martin Johnson wiping his head with his towel, puts his bat up as usual, picks up his cloth that he's moistened to get grip. Dries the soles of his shoes, goes through his routine. He's about to serve. Under scrutiny. Nice, easy start for him. And just looking at the hand position, it does curl a little after he's thrown the ball up. But as far as I can see, the ball's going up pretty straight. Duran suddenly not looking as though he knows where his next point's coming from. Johnson making them wait again. Johnson very fussy with the grip on the floor. Remarkable return from Duran. Went into orbit and still landed on the table, but Johnson kept his focus, put it away. Has a 3-point advantage. This time he hits the net, goes off the end. 6-5 to North Ayrshire down the far end. 3-1 to them here on this table. Duran struggling. Johnson now on a roll. He's very focused. Crunches the ball past Duran, who's not focused. Taking his time though, towering down. Duran making Johnson wait this time. 7-6 to North Ayrshire down the far end. 5-1 here. What a great block on the backhand from Duran. Nonchalant shot. Stuck his bat in the way. Went flying back and Johnson couldn't return. 7-all down the far end. That's where the noise is. As that backhand enabled Duran to get back into this match. Apparently not. 6-2 Johnson. Leading 1-0. Oh, we've got another bit of controversy here. Fantastic strawberry flick from Duran and then followed up with a lucky edge. 6-3. The umpire didn't see it. And then we have what I call a pocket shot from Duran. Flicks the bat at the ball, returning a big hit from Johnson, past him with interest. Just a flick from waist height from Johnson on the forehand. Sorry, from Duran. Brings him back to 4-6. Tries an impossible backhand block shot there. Duran's got to keep his focus. Bennett edging ahead 9-8 down the far end. Oh, and this time, this is going to bring a yellow card, I'm afraid, from Duran. Threw his bat in the air, caught the net, Gavril into his pocket with the yellow card. I know David Gavril, the umpire, was a big fan of Chris Duran, stating he thought he'd probably win his 2 today, but not looking like that at the moment. Totally lost focus. 9-4 now to Johnson. You can never write Duran off, but he's checking his rubber. He's done some damage to his bat when he threw it in the air, hit the table, in fact went over the net. He was awarded a yellow card. Tired forehand goes off the end from Duran. He looks down into the floor. The end of this game can't come quick enough. Johnson hits a big forehand to take the end. He's going to keep his focus. Can Duran now pull a rabbit out of a hat? Neither of his colleagues are looking at him at the moment. They're watching Bennett save a game point. They're now talking to Duran, Cliff Cardwell and Ralph Patterson, but neither seem to know what to say to him. Wry smile from Ralph Patterson. Bennett winning that point with a big forehand, 11-10. Duran now flicking his water bottle. Still looks up tight, Duran. Shaking his head, Duran, saying it's the worst he's played. Fantastic game point going on down the far end between Bennett and Main. And Bennett comes out on top. Duran applauding from his side of the court. Gives the Essex team a 2-set advantage there, but equally a 2-set disadvantage here. He'd take a huge swing in momentum here if Duran's got to win this match. You wouldn't put it past him, but maybe age against him on this occasion. We shall see. Great backhand flick loaded with spin from Johnson, gives him the first point. Duran's return goes long. This time a fast forehand side spin serve into the backhand wins Duran the point. 1 each. FA Cup final today, of course. It comes later after the table tennis. Johnson winning that point. Duran showing some signs of improvement. 2-all here. Johnson will want to finish him off as soon as he can. If he plays like that, he will. Fantastic forehand return of Duran's serve. Very difficult to serve to these players now. Fast backspin serve, but Johnson too good for that. Duran takes his glasses off, toweling down. Not for much though. Looking as though he's going to punch his bat. Very frustrated. Johnson just too good. Duran needs to control himself here. He puts the bat on the table and calls a timeout. Duran now sitting down off the table. So Man City playing later against Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final. And of course Eurovision. Possibly the biggest watched TV programme. Asked Victor Gorman for a tip tonight. And he's fully behind the odds-on favourite, his home nation of Sweden. I don't think the great British hopes have much chance of winning, but dare I be controversial and say, however good it is, political voting these days doesn't really give us much chance, particularly following Brexit. I don't think we have too many fans in Europe. Back to the table. The action will be resumed. Bennett is 4-2 down at the far end, make that 5-2. Johnson going through the routine of drying his shoes off after stepping on the moistened sponge he has on the floor. Wipes his hand on the table. Addresses and leading 5-2. Yeah, the iron didn't do much wrong there, but the power of Johnson brings applause from Victor Gorman. 6-2, 2-0. Duran plays a nice little backhand loop there that Drops into the bottom of the net following the weak return from Corman. Another weak return. Corman brings it come on from Joanne. Both matches 6-4 now in favour of North Ayrshire. Frustration addressing me there and saying that that's happened a lot to him today. This time he wins the serve. Yeah, once again telling me that he's trying not to break his back. Not known for his back throwing, and hopefully you won't see it happen again. Taking the chance of toweling down, trying to keep his composure, but a player of great touch, and his touch doesn't seem to be there today, but you mustn't discredit his opponent. He's only allowed to play as well as the opponent lets you. And there's another great ball. Closing the match out now, you feel 8-fire. Some great retrieval from the far end going on from Chris Main. Not enough though to stop Bennett. Oh, that's a great counter punch from Duran. Still in it. 8-6 to the man from North Ayrshire, but Duran clinging on to hope. Bennett creeping ahead 7-6 and 2-0 up. Could well be the games are split here, one each. Nice return of serve for Duran, cushioning the spin. Johnson plays an air shot. Patterson getting ready for what will be doubtlessly a crucial match. Well, we must never write Chris Duran off. It's 8-all now. Played a great counter rally there. Settled a bit better. Serving at 8-all. Can he pull a rabbit out of a hat? No, he can't. Slow on his feet there, I think. Didn't breathe in. Once again, he looks into the commentary box, hoping for inspiration. And he does come up with a good serve. Johnson frustrated by himself. 9-all. Patterson giving some encouragement to Duran, who's taking his time, drying his head with his glasses off. Johnson a bit late in going over to get the towel, looks a bit naughty. Both wiping their head, put more hair on the head of Johnson than on the head of Duran, with the bald pate. Johnson settles, goes quiet. Great backhand from Duran, brings him up a game point. Who would have thought that only 6 points ago? Johnson will know how important this point is. He won't want to let Duran go. Oh, Duran going 2 pocket shots, the second one going long. Back to deuce. Bennett 9-8 up and 2-0 up. Batts will need that win. Two match points for Bennett. Oh, a fantastic return. And Duran at last punches the hair, high fives his teammates, smiles into the commentary box. A wry smile, but you cannot write this man off. Johnson serving. Yeah. Johnson wins the point and disturbs the 2 match points from Bennett. They have to call a let on the far table. There's a timeout being called here by the North Ayrshire man. Just trying to play mind games with Duran. It won't do him any harm, I don't think, although he's in the ascendancy. And as is Chris Main down the far end, he's pulled a point back, 9-10. Still match point to Josh Bennett. Needs this, though, as assurance in case Duran doesn't win this, which is not looking likely. Massive forehand from Bennett on the counter gives him a 3-0 lead in what was a close game. Main is good to watch, and he's still got one more game to play and will play a big part in this match. Meanwhile, timeout is over here. 11-all. Fascinating end, this one. Duran good at the clutch points. Let's see. Yeah, plays a nice backhand block, but can't stop Johnson's forehand, which has really been the story of the game, and he now has a match point for the first time himself. Johnson, umpire still watching his hand. Nothing wrong with that serve. Big forehand, wins. It's a big yes from Johnson. He knows how difficult it is to beat Chris Duran. Chris Duran shakes Gavel's hand, as does Johnson. We have a split result there, 1 each, which gives the North Ayrshire team the advantage going into the final 2 games. They lead 3-2. The double still looks to have been an important part of this match. We probably will have a little break here. I think I will have a comfort break, and we'll be back ready for those final 2 important games. Ralph Patterson under pressure here for his team will play Chris Main, and Josh Bennett will be back in action against Victor Gorham. Testing. We've just changed mics over, and we're in a short break. two decisive matches. We're underway here on table 1. Bats need to win both of these if they're to win the match. Bennett coming off a good win now, playing the number 1. Well, he's actually number 2, but he's won 90% of his games, so in theory he's their best player. But he leads 3-1 as he throws a high toss serve. Too good for Bennett. 4-1. We haven't started on the far end. A big test for Ralph Patterson against the more defensive Chris Mayne. Just speaking off camera to Chris Duran, explaining his frustrations from the last game, that he can't convert clutch points where he used to be able to. It says that both of these are going to be close, but thinks Ralph should win. This one he rates at 50-50. Bennett struggling, 7-1 down. Patterson 2-0 up against the more defensive Mayne. So this is probably the one that's going to be the clincher. Bennett just not really in this one. Gorman is like a young Chris Duran. Very good touch. Very deceptive. Unusual stance. Nice control from Bennett, but when he goes for the big shot, he misses. 9-1 to the North Ayrshire player. Patterson 4-1 up. Remember though, the 10-1 and Gorman apologising to Bennett, but when it goes your way, it goes your way. Looks like both matches are a bit one-sided at the minute. Bennett sacrificing that, loses 11-1. Don't write him off. Down the far end, home favourite Patterson is 6-1 up. Under the eye of Mary Nichols. David Gazrell with the controversial calls in the last game. He yellow carded Chris Duran, which wasn't a difficult task, bearing in mind the bat was thrown in the air by Duran and landed on the table. Maybe the little bit tighter ones were the two calls against the North Ayrshire server for not throwing the ball up straight. Patterson loses a point, first time in 6, 7-2 he leads. We're back in action on table 1 with the second end. Bennett serving to Victor Gorman, but a set down. Gorman starts with a touch of fortune. Bennett's touch is still not there. Patterson 9-2 up. Bennett's got one back here. You get the feeling that Bennett is struggling, making a lot of gesticulating to his teammates. Credit to Gorman. Tough cookie. This time a good backhand flick from Bennett brings him his first real point of the game. Patterson takes the first end 11-2. The good news for BATTS is Patterson's form. Question marks over whether he's practicing up and lacking in match practice, but he's having a drink. Large can he's got down there. I assume it's an energy drink and not an alcoholic one. He looks happy. Nice 1-2 from Bennett there. First with the backhand flick, then the forehand to follow up. Brings him within a point of Gorman. Wayward backhand this time. One gets the feeling that Gorman's in control. If he is, and he comes through here, my prediction of the doubles was a decisive one. Gorman toying with Bennett here this time. It's an interesting rally. Both players just playing at sort of half pace and content to retrieve the ball until Gorman goes long. Quality player, Josh Bennett. Yep, he changed his stance for the serve, delivered it on the backhand, and has come up with a good strategy to win the point. 5-all. Gorman lost the last two. He'll be annoyed with himself. He has the advantage of the serve. Takes this unusual stance. Loads it with serve, but it catches the net. Beautiful backhand blocking this time from Bennett, and that's one of the points. Well, it is the point of the day. 3 blocks down the middle. Big forehand coming in the end from Gorman. But Bennett up to it, angled it just that little bit further out of Gorman's reach. Fantastic rally. 6-5 now, Bennett leads. And then dumps one into the net. Loud applause. The acoustics in this domed ceiling echoes right across the hall. Johnson clapping again, loudly, encouraging Gorman. Patterson leads 3-2 down the far end. Bennett serving 6-7. Nice backhand drive. Bennett hits long. Critical point. 2 points coming up on the Gorman serve. Bennett not at the races there. Very poor backhand. Gorman 9-6. Bennett again misses out, pushes into the bottom of the net. Looks disappointed, as he should be. Plays a superb pocket shot there without moving his feet, just moves his chest back a bit, gets the shot in around waist height. Forehand winner, 7-10. Gorman, however, comes out on top. Looks like he's meaning business, moving down the court very fast. Bennett much slower back to his corner. 11-7 this time, a bit better than the 11-1 in the first end. Nonetheless, 2-0 lead. One more end away from taking this match, which would be not a surprise, but a disappointment for BATTS. They're ahead of the Scottish team in the league and started favourites. Perhaps a little under strength. They haven't got Ayrshire Chen, who's back in China. He's been a regular this season. And Patterson has come in, but he's been the mainstay of the team. He's just hit a fantastic winner, drawing applause from the crowd. He leads 8-4 and 1-0. Bennett is going to have to pull something out in this third end. Crowd quiet. Time for reflection.
Umpire calls time. Both players using the 4 minute. Gorman, a clever player, very experienced. Plays in the Swedish league. Patterson playing huge forehands into the backhand and then a winner down the forehand. Great serve from Gorman. Absolutely using the full length of the table. Gorman spinning now. Bennett talking to his team, but that doesn't help. Patterson, meanwhile, takes 5 game points. Gorman simply too good for Bennett. I think the match is slipping away from the home team now. They'll be happy that Patterson has just taken the second end to lead 2-0, and he has been the one thing that Batts can take out of this game is his form. Bennett going down here, 5-0. Whatever he does, Gorman has an answer to. Even the serve, Bennett can't handle. Love 6, he lost the first 11-1. Tries a slow rolling forehand, that catches the net and goes off. Love 7, 2-0 down. It would take a miracle now. He has to get his first point on the board. 7-1. Gorman gets into that stance. Spins a forehand at Bennett. Hits off the end on the backhand. Gorman puts his feet together and slides the back leg backwards. 2-8. Bennett looks dejected, as Duran does on the bench. Disappointing end of the season. Whatever Bennett comes up with, Gorman has the answer. Very clever player. Wow. He plays a backhand across court from the back. The forehand side gives him 8 match points. Bennett seemingly given up, lobbing from the back. And Gorman hits one through the table into the opposing court. Applause all round. Great performance from Gorman. He's unbeaten on the day. 4-2 to North Ayrshire. Patterson still playing, and the North Ayrshire players embrace. Martin Johnson really happy with his colleague Victor Gorman from Sweden. The two in deep conversation. The Batts bench dejected. As I say, perhaps the one thing that they can bring out of this match is the return of Ralph Patterson, who's still unsure of his future. Pulled out of the Nationals, and he was certainly the favourite to win the under-17s. Oh, that is a fantastic backhand from Patterson. I think we have a timeout, yes. Once you get 3 points down in what potentially is the final end, timeouts are normally called. Patterson doesn't need any advice. He's drinking from his large can, keeping his focus, avoiding the gaze of his bench. He's got a job to do, albeit in vain in terms of the match. Already the North Ayrshire team have claimed the victory. David Gavril, the local umpire, comes down. Any chance of a word, David? He's going to have a chat with us. He's the chairman of Essex Table Tennis. He has some good people working for him, I think, particularly on the junior front. But we must start, David, by asking you the question of the ball toss from Martin Johnson and you calling him, I think, at 9-all.
I called him twice. Once in the match against Ralph, and once in a match against Chris Duran. I can only call what I see. See the ball going backwards to an unacceptable degree. Got to call him. I think he felt as though I was singling him out, but certainly wasn't. And it doesn't really matter at what point in the match you see something like that. If you see a fault, you've got to call it.
Well, I know you're involved in one of the junior competitions in the county championships. I think you called a similar one on match point against the server who had a match point against him, so it concluded the game.
Yeah, as I say, whenever you see a fault, you've got to call it, whether it be the first point in the game or the last.
Well, that's interesting to hear. I must say, the amount of...
Don't serve faults, that's the easy answer, isn't it?
I must say, with the amount of remonstrating from the North Ayrshire player, that was he close to getting a yellow card, questioning your decision?
Not for me. No, I don't consider that worthy of a yellow card. He's a bit emotional about it, but maybe if he had continued, he'd got a yellow card. But no, he was a nice enough chap, and he's just obviously a bit emotional about the call.
Yes, it didn't affect his overall performance in the end. He came through the match, and an easy yellow card to give against Chris Duran.
Yes, I'm afraid that was an extremely easy card.
Yes.
Bat up in the air, landing on the table, bouncing in the net. Yes, unfortunately, that's a yellow card all day. And Chris obviously knew it and he accepted it very gracefully.
He was close to punching his bat. He was getting very frustrated with himself.
Was he? Oh.
Well, punching the bat, would that be a yellow card offence?
Depends exactly what
happened.
Depends where the bat ended up, I think.
Well, let me ask you, David, I know you're impartial as an umpire, but we did have a conversation about Chris Duran, and I think you said he'd win both his games, and I think
You can't beat Chris. Nobody can beat Chris, he's the best.
Excuse me, he lost both his games.
Martin, nobody can beat Chris, he's the best.
I think this should have gone to Specsavers. Other brands of glasses are available, but
there's more ways of winning than just the scoreline, and Chris always wins with his style.
I think Table Tennis England might be questioning that. I think if you look in the scorebook, if you lose 3 ends in any one match, then you lose.
Well, that is how you win a Table Tennis England table tennis match, but it's not how you win a table tennis match of style.
Right.
You have to earn style points to win a table tennis match of style, Martin.
Right. Well,
Chris normally gets 11 before the other guys got to 2.
On a question of style, David, we have to bring your own technique to question now. And talking to one of the BATTS players earlier, Joshua Bennett, who perhaps has other things on his mind and has had a dip in form, has said he's going to the dark side to using long pimples. Do you think playing with long pimples is stylish?
Well, it's, in my opinion, the best way to play the game and the fairest way to play the game. But I'm not sure if... I mean, Josh is such a good attacking player, isn't he? I mean, it would seem a bit odd for him to... hang on.
Oh, we have question marks being asked of the umpire, Josh Bennett. You right, Josh?
Yes, I didn't know you were interviewing. I was looking for a ball.
Ah, right, yeah. Okay, well, there's some happy Scottish and Swedish players here and a very disheartened Northamptonshire representative who is helping himself to my wallet.
So just take one. One card or one.
But the question, you was threatening retirement, was that a threat or?
Yeah, I'm not playing again for a long time now. I'm not. I'll do a bit of coaching, but I'm not picking up a bat until the knee surgery. I mean, it's not,
I think it's a bit of sour grapes, but we'll see.
No. I'm not. I wasn't playing anyway, but I was going to do a bit of coaching. But like, I was thinking about playing this tournament in Kosovo in June because that's where I was, but it's no fun playing hurt every time though. Like your knee hurts doing anything. It's just like, I mean, I played the Cliff Carter pre-memorial 70th birthday celebrations thing about 3 weeks ago, and Carl Preen had to help me down the stairs.
Oh dear, I think Carl's slightly older than you as well, isn't he? Right. Well,
It wasn't that bad today. It's just no fun playing every time with a knee that's killing you and you're limping. And the irony was, my knee wasn't even hurting me that bad today. It was just my head's not in it.
no, well, we now must move over to the post-match interviews, which will be conducted by BATTS Supremo Cliff Carter. He's had a recent birthday. There were some question marks whether it was 50, 60 or 70. Can you confirm either way, Cliff?
I can confirm it was, unfortunately, it was 70. So I do need to be honest. But it was very good. And it was nice to see a lot of the BATTS players come along. And everyone really enjoyed the tournament. So it was good fun, great way to celebrate my birthday. And I really appreciate it. And nice to see Ralph won it, you know, a BATTS boy. And then, yeah, nice to see Ralph playing really, really well today. Yeah. Unfortunately, we lost the match, but they were too strong. They were the better team on the day.
Well, I did predict the doubles would decide the match, and I think that may be the case.
It was the case, yeah. I mean, it's difficult doubles when you don't play together very often, and the opposition do. But, you know, we're happy with the way the season has gone. We still finished 2 points ahead of North Ayrshire there, so we're third in the league, which is very, very strong. And just love working with a team, and hopefully next year we'll have the same sort of guys playing, and hopefully we'll finish second instead of third and then first the following year.
Excellent. A few rule changes. You mentioned to me maybe one overseas player only per match. Is that correct?
There's nothing confirmed yet, but there's potential, we'll know in the next couple of weeks, potential changes to the format of the matches, but it looks highly likely that each team is only going to be allowed to have one non-Great Britain or English player, only one foreign player per match. So you could actually have more signed up, but only one can play each match.
Serious question, is a Scottish player deemed a foreign player or no?
No. Scottish, Irish, Isle of Man, Jersey, all those little places, that's all like Great Britain. So it's only, yeah, by foreign, it's outside the British Isles.
Got that. And we're about to do, who are you interviewing? Is it going to be one of the North Ayrshire guys or Ralph, who
Ralph,
unbeaten in the singles?
Ralph.
We'll be back in a second. Do you want it over there? Do you want it, because we're not? Oh, you're on camera. We're on camera.
Oh, right, sorry.
I didn't realise I'd have. Well, yeah, sorry about that, folks. Hope you enjoyed the post-match interviews. We're joined now by Ralph Patterson, who will be well pleased, I think, with his performance. I'll hand you over to his uncle, Cliff Carter. I was going to say granddad, but I'll pass you over.
Great, granddad. Thanks, Ralph. No, I mean, very interesting, Ralph. I know you started off the season with BATTS. You've always been a BATTS player, loyal to the team and that. But then to improve, you went over to Germany. It didn't quite work out for you. And I thought, shall I just drop him or shall I let him back in the team? But I thought, yeah, let him back in the team. He's a proper BATTS boy. And look what happens today. He loses the doubles. So very, very upsetting. But to see him play, the table tennis he plays, like beating those two players is fantastic. So really great to see you back in the team, Ralph. I really mean that. And well played today. What do you think of your performance? Shut up.
Thanks, Cliff. No, to be honest, I'm just happy I'm playing table tennis. You know, results aside, it was very nice for the first time in years that I could play a match and feel absolutely no pressure, you know, and I really enjoyed it. You know, it wasn't just winning, it was winning but having fun, which I haven't experienced in a long time. As probably some of you may know that I don't play professionally anymore. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here and happy to give back for the people who supported my professional journey at BATTS, and that's why I give it my all for the team.
So do you want to carry on playing next season for us?
Big question. Oh.
because it's going to depend on how much you want to pay me, because I'm still not.
I was going to say, depends how much you want to pay me.
I'm not paying you anything. But no, it is fantastic to have you back, and I look forward to hopefully you carrying on next season. And also, I wish you all the best, because I know it's a huge decision that you've taken, and for me, it's really nice to see you so relaxed and enjoying the game. So, last words over to you. Say what you like, mate.
Well, yeah. We'll see. Hopefully, I'll still be playing for Bats, and just giving it my all. If Cliff could pay my very expensive expenses, but yeah. Good.
Can I ask you a question, Ralph?
Yeah.
More importantly than Bats, what about County? He's disappearing. He's let me down the last 2 seasons going to China, but I think you might be more local this time.
We will see. Thank you very much.
And I can
Thank you, Ralph.
I can give you part of the answer to that. The junior county matches clashes with Prem dates at the moment.
Oh dear.
But things may be changing.
Okay, well, there we go.
Watch this space.
At least we leave it on a note of optimism, and we're fighting over the same player, so let's hope either way Ralph is playing. I think that would be great for the game.
Of course, yeah, it's great to have him back. I'm really chuffed.
Thanks, Cliff, and thanks for all your work this season and the interviews. I think we're now going to go off air and have a break, and we'll see you back in the next season.
Yeah, hopefully. And thanks for what you've been doing, guys. Very good. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Cliff, and thanks, Carl, behind the camera. Great job.
Is that fully filled in score? No, it's not. Oh, yes.
No, I'll do that.
No, I've got to sign it.
I didn't know.